Ever wonder why that perfect Victorian semi has been sitting on the market for 30 days while the house down the street sold in a few days? Most buyers walk in and fall in love with the brand new quartz countertops or those trendy bright light fixtures, but they're missing the signs that the house is actually a financial trap. Buyers often buy on emotion and justify with logic, but that's exactly how you lose a lot of money. I've been helping clients navigate the Toronto real estate market since 2015, and one question I get when walking through a property is, what should I be looking for? I've seen hundreds of homes over the years to spot a problem property. I'm giving you my 60-second scan, the exact sequence I use to tell if a house is a problem. Stick around till the end because I'm revealing the three Toronto silent killers that only show up after you've lived in the house for 4 seasons. The three-phase scan is not a replacement of a home inspection, which is a more thorough evaluation of the home's condition conducted by a professional. In Toronto, you usually have 30 minutes for a showing. Your scan starts before you even enter the house. First thing we look at is the grading. If you're in a low-lying part of the neighborhood and the house sits lower than the street, remember, water always wins. During the spring melt, that water is heading straight for your foundation. Transit and vibrations. Does the house back onto train tracks or a subway line? That urban energy becomes a resale nightmare when you're trying to sleep through the midnight train. If you're close to the subway line, you will feel the vibrations. I had clients who looked at a house very close to the subway line. One thing we did is spend a good 10 minutes in the basement to see if we can hear and feel the subway trains going by. Another thing we did is talk to the neighbors who've been living there for years to get their unbiased experience with the subway line being so close. Pro tip: I tell my clients to come back to the area at different days and times to talk to the neighbors. They let the neighbors know they're looking to buy on that specific street and get firsthand feedback on the pros and cons of living in the neighborhood. The second phase of the scan is the exterior, also known as the bones. In the 416, we have all bones. Here's a 60-second exterior checklist. Take a look at the roof. I'm looking for curling shingles, but more importantly, I'm looking for multiple layers. If I see 3 layers of shingles, that seller has not truly replaced the roof in 30 years. That's an easy $8,000 to $15,000 of expenses to budget for. Second thing we look at is the foundation. If there is a jagged crack, which looks like a stair steps and not a straight crack, then the house is shifting and there's could be an indicator of foundation issues. The other thing we look at is the spalling brick. Look for brick faces that popped off. Water gets in, it freezes and cracks the brick. If you see a messy patch up on the mortar, it's a red flag for potentially other issues. The silver maple warning, or big trees in general. We love our old maple trees in areas like Long Branch and High Park, but these big trees mean hidden content in your sewer lines. If I see a massive tree near the house or close enough to the house, a sewer scope is recommended to see if the roots have gotten into the main drain, especially if it's an old clay pipe. The third phase is the interior. This is where we get inside the property and look at the following items. First is a smell test. Does it smell like a perfume shop? Sellers use heavy fragrance to hide the old Toronto basement smell, which is usually mold or dampness. Second thing we look at is the foggy windows. Toronto winters are cold. Yes, they aren't as cold as Montreal or Winnipeg, but minus 25 is cold for us here. If windows fog between the double pane, that seal is broken and your heating bill will be high. Another thing we look at is the sloping floor. If you stand in the middle of the kitchen or the living room, do you feel like you're leaning? In a 1920s house, a little character is fine, but it's also something you need to investigate. However, if the house is new or relatively new, then it's a sign of a floor joist issue. This can be addressed by sistering the joist to level the floors. However, it does require you opening up the ceiling of the lower floor to access the joist. You would take the repair cost into account when negotiating the purchase price. In these cases, having an engineering inspection is important. Another thing we look at is under the sink. Open the cabinets. This is where we're looking for mold, sloppy plumbing, such as missing P-traps. If the work you see is sloppy, then the work probably behind the walls is even worse. Now, as promised earlier, here are the 3 things that kill deals in Toronto. First is the knob and tube surprise. Toronto homes have old wiring hiding behind new drywall. It makes the house nearly impossible to insure, and while you can rewire the whole house, you need to account for that in your negotiation. This is something that needs to be disclosed by the seller, as it is considered a latent defect, which is not visible to someone walking through the property. Second is the basement apartment myth. Just because there is a kitchen in the basement, it doesn't mean it's legal. If it doesn't meet the fire or building code requirements, your lender will not count that rental income towards your mortgage if you're counting on the rental income to help you qualify. It also could open you up for a liability issue if the city inspects your basement apartment. So how do we use this data to get ahead in this market? Buying in Toronto does not have to be a trap if you have the right guidance and people on your team. Here's your 3-step action plan. Step 1. If there's 1 or 2 issues, that's a negotiation point. But if you see there are 4 or more issues in different categories, such as the roof, foundation, electrical, it's time to pause. Step 2. Never waive the home inspection. A professional inspector will spend 2 to 3 hours going through the whole house in detail and answering all your questions as a buyer. I highly recommend this step. Step 3 is the DIY renovation. Walking through the house, take a look at the craftsmanship of the fit and finish of the custom millwork, the cabinetry, the plumbing, how the light fixtures are attached. All those minor details are indicator if renovations were done by professionals via permit or was it a weekend job. If you're looking to buy in the city and want someone who knows the difference between a lipstick on a pig reno or a solid property, click the link in my bio to book a 15-minute call. We'll take a look at your target neighborhood and I'll share my experience in building and renovating houses in this city. Don't buy a home before you watch this video here, where I break down the 4 pillars of putting an offer so you do not leave money on the table. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.